Namaste, greetings and blessings, and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts. This is our Sunday message, and I am Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, the founder and spiritual director of this center. And I invite you to watch not only this Sunday message, but any of our archived messages. I invite you to join any classes or events that we have going on. I invite you to reach out and email if you have any questions. Questions about this community, questions about me, questions about what we do, or questions about this science of mind and spirit, liberation theology that we practice and teach. And if by chance you find yourself seeking beloved community with other like-minded beings, even if you already belong, are a member of another community, church, or center, you are more than free to have multiple affiliations wherever you are fed and find community. You are invited. And lastly, feel free to click like, subscribe, and share this or any other message or announcements with others in your circle. And with that, much appreciation, love, and blessings. Enjoy the message. Namaste and greetings as we wrap up October. Happy Halloween. Soon to be happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Whew, so, before we start, go back 1 second. Before we get into this, I feel the need, the desire to let you know that this particular week triggered me. As we go through, I'm going to explain why. But I just want to put it out there that it is important for us to, in order to heal, in order to transform, in order to evolve, it is important for us to go to the scary places, to go to the places that are uncomfortable. Just want to preface it with that. Just so you know that as we go along, if I should get emotional, you'll know why. So this week, life and death. How do you feel about death? The concept of it, the way we tend to treat it, or the things we do around it, funerals, cremation, etc. And suppose you had this opportunity. You knew when, you knew that when you die, you have this opportunity to come back, to be a part of the celebration and the honoring of you. So you came back. You caught an Uber back from life after life, from the next level of consciousness, the great oneness of multiverse. You're back for your celebration, your honoring. What do you want people to say? What do you want people to do? How do you want to be honored? Do you want there to be popcorn and movies and laughter? Oh, that's just me. Okay. How do you want to be honored and celebrated? If you were to come back and be a part of that. And just in general, how do you want to be remembered? How do you want people to think of you? What do you want to come to their mind regarding you? Ray was such a funny person. He used to always make me laugh. I'd laugh so hard that like my abs, I felt like I was doing an ab workout. It was, oh man, yeah. And he would come up with an acronym like that, and it'd actually be pretty good. Some of them, man, but most of them are pretty good. I'm gonna remember that. Oh, and he loved comic books and The Matrix. How do you want to be remembered? He always had a nice word to say, except if you made him mad. He was a pretty good teacher, great performer, awesome minister. What do you want people to remember you by? What is your legacy? What are you leaving this world? And it's a legacy before you have transitioned, because your legacy is now. What is the legacy you are leaving? What is the legacy you are creating? Now, suppose you knew how much time you had from today until the day that you transition. What would you do? What would you do differently? Anything that you would do differently, or would you do what you're doing now? And suppose you say, because some people do this, well, if I knew I only had 4 months to live or whatever, I would go to Tibet. Why are you waiting? Make the plans now, because we don't know. So why put off till tomorrow when technically there is no tomorrow? There's only today, because when tomorrow gets here, tomorrow's not tomorrow, tomorrow's today. So do it today. Breathe. Now we're going to be discussing some of these things, and couple of other things. So if you are ready, let's jump in. Many people go through life in a way where they are running, and they're running from something very interesting. Many people are running from life. Now, what do I mean by they're running from life? Any ideas? Well, according to Virginia Woolf, you cannot find peace by avoiding life. People are running from life, meaning they are avoiding various aspects of this thing called life. And you cannot find peace while avoiding the totality of the experience. For example, people who do spiritual bypass, metaphysical malpractice, they cannot find peace because they are avoiding certain aspects of life. So take the plunge. Whatever is coming up, look at it, address it, and move forward. Don't lay on the bed staring at the dark closet because I just know that Valak is in there. And I'm avoiding getting out of bed and turning on the light to Manila Gorilla, he's in the window. Get up, turn on the lights, address your fears. And you'll find that your fears fade away as the light comes on. And then you are at peace. Where's Raymond? What do you mean? We're not looking we're not looking for Raymond. We are looking for a thing called peace. Where, oh, where do we find our peace? Oh, where could it be? So for you, what is peace? What does peace mean to you? Because there's a variety of aspects of how this thing called peace is expressed. Peace expressed as two sides at war. And when the war ceases and they are in some form of agreement, it is a time or an era of peace. Peace is also lack of conflict or a peaceful resolution to a conflict. It's balance. It's a stillness. Peace is all kinds of things. In your life, if we were to say, what does your life look like when it's at peace? What is peace of mind for you? What does peace feel like for you? And as you are sitting in that space of peace, since we talked about one of the things that Ray would love to be remembered for is his acronyms, we are going to give you one. Who's we? I'm going to give you one. Peace, presence, expressing, and creating experiences. Presence, how we are in the here and now. Presence, the divine. Presence, expressing and creating experiences. And when we address every aspect of life that comes before us, moves through us, and we do so with presence as it expresses, and through responsibility and accountability and choice, we then create our experiences, not just for ourselves individually, collectively. But we cannot do this, if we are running from or trying to avoid various aspects of life. There are some who they don't want to grow old. So they get all kinds of surgery and implants and injections. No shame, shade, or anything regarding those who do it. But if you're doing it for the purpose of trying to outrun, you're not going to find peace. Because whatever that is you are attempting to run from, it's still there. So we're invited to have a certain level of acceptance. I have gray hair. If I choose to dye it because I want to dye it, I'm like, what would I look like if I was blonde? Or I'm going to dye it like purple, pink. Could you imagine me with pink hair? Well, it sort of would be like a pink scalp because the hair. So anyhow, and I'm doing it because that's what I want to do for something aesthetic or experimenting and with a new look. Okay, but if it's, oh man, I had gray hair, I'm getting old. I don't want people to know I'm old. Oh, and then I go dye it black, or as some people I have known, spray paint it with some hairspray thing to make it black. Why? So, avoiding life, running from life. Well, what is life? This thing called life. Because we use the words life in its adjacent words, terms, very often. Life, alive, living. I want to live. The show is live. That's even the same spelling. And it's spoken to live, to be live. We use the words in all kinds of ways. How often do we actually think about what it means when we're using them? What does it mean to be on live television? And how is being on live television similar to being alive? Similar to someone who says they want to live, to be one of the living, to enjoy life. In order to enjoy life, I need to fully be alive, to be living each moment by moment, and to know that I live right here, right now, live and in person, the embodiment of the all that is. So what is life to you? Because yes, we could look at, of course, Merriam-Webster, definition, the existence of the period between birth and death, etc., to have energy or vitality, all these things, yes. But until we embody them, they're just words. Until we actually are conscious and aware and choosing, they're just words. So how do we make the words more personal? Well, I invite you this week to meditate on the following phrases. Memento mori, remember death, or remember that you will die. Memento vivere, viver, Remember to live. Remember you are alive. Remember life. Carpe diem. Seize the day. And lastly, memento amoris. Remember to love. Remember to be loved. Once again, words. These Latin phrases are relatively common, per se, for many people. But do we pause and say, the words represent a thought, an idea. So rather than simply speaking for the sake of speaking or writing for the sake of writing, let me truly pause and ask myself, when I use this word versus that word, what is the energy that I am choosing to convey? What is the concept I am choosing to express? And so if I am going to remember that I will die, what is the energy of that? Do I feel, oh, woe is me, for I shall die, and I am sad for it? Or is it, remember you are going to die, so remember that you are alive, and seize the day, and part of seizing the day is remember to love. Now what changes? Because for me, the four of these together is a deep invitation to be present to the right here and right now, and to enjoy to the best of my ability, moment by moment. If I'm drinking coffee, enjoy it. Because Ray don't like going places and they serve coffee and it's nasty. Ray be very disappointed with that. Very, very, very angry. Very, very, very anger management. Anger management, yes. Hulk. I digress. No, but seriously, it's about enjoying. And even if it's something like, using chapstick or Blistex, feel it. Don't just put it on and, keep running your mouth. Feel it. Be present to the lotion as it goes on. Enjoy the scent. Rainika bought this, I don't even know when, and I don't remember if this was Tracy's or if this one was mine. I ended up taking it though. If it was Tracy's, I took it. So don't tell Rainika, don't tell Tracy, but I took it. Anyhow, chamomile. So as I put chamomile on, not only feel it, but smell it. Enjoy the moment. Where is there love in the process of putting lotion on? Am I putting it on because I love myself? Because of how it makes me feel? And so be present. And to the best of our ability, enjoy this thing called life. Because that thing called death happens to us all. And it's interesting that in a variety of ways, television shows, movies, artwork, comic books, etc., death is portrayed in so many wildly different ways, right? From death being the black woman in the Netflix show The Sandman, to, I can't think of the gentleman's name, but the gentleman from Touched by an Angel, to death as represented in the Marvel universe via comic, and then via, it was Agatha all along, or something, I forget what, no, that's not the name of the show. Anyhow, Agatha. It's interesting that we portray death in so many ways. Moving people across the river Styx, the Grim Reaper. There are so many concepts and images. And yet, once again, same thing with life. Do we pause to think about the words we use? Death, dying, die, dead. Especially since in our vernacular, we use many of these words. And do we ever pause to think about why? Why these words versus? So in a humorous way, someone may say, oh man, that the comedian was so funny, I was dead. Or ha 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 ha, that's so funny, I'm dying. But you weren't dead and you're not dying. So why do we say it? Oh, she was drop dead gorgeous. Well, then I don't want to look at her then. That's a dead end. Don't turn left because that's a dead end. It's a cul-de-sac. Dead end. My phone is dead, or my phone is about to die. So does that mean it's alive right now? Because I could say my battery is almost depleted, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying my phone is dead. Are we using these terms to somehow bring death to soften the concept or the fear of it? Because there are a lot of phrases that we use. Now, regarding that, let me share something with you. It's a little personal that most people don't know. And I didn't know for many years until I had a therapist. I think it was a therapist that I had, probably the third therapist I had in Richmond, possibly second or third therapist in Richmond, not long before I ended up leaving. It was my third therapist because it was after my father made his transition. So it was my third therapist in Richmond. And he informed me that I have experienced something called thanatophobia, or another spelling, or thanatophobia. It's the fear of death. Typically caused as a result of some kind of trauma that, in essence, scars you, where you now have, very often, it's an irrational concept or fear of death. Causes me to at times be very hypervigilant, to not necessarily be paranoid, but it ain't far from. And part of it's because I think my first viewing of a body in a casket, I was 3 or 4. Then there were many others, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Probably every year of my life, there was a funeral or a viewing, because at this present moment, being 59, the number of viewings and the number of funerals that I have attended are well into the thousands. And so, because of that early childhood trauma regarding death, including my father being diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and he was supposed to die within 2 to 4 years, fear. And even still today, now, while I have a relatively good grasp on it, so the anxiety is greatly reduced, and the medication I'm currently taking for anxiety is helping, and well as my spiritual practices, of course, there are still moments when this surfaces. Now, why am I sharing this? Because I want us all to realize that whatever we are feeling and whatever we are experiencing is valid. There should be no shame or guilt about saying the duality of, but Ray, you're a minister of, yes, I've been ordained 8 different times and 8 different, yes. Yeah, but so, but death, why does death scare you? You don't believe in hell? Why does death scare you? Trauma. Even though I believe, as we're going to get to, immortality, eternality, all this stuff. Yes, that is my practice. It is my belief. It is my faith. It is what I've learned from this teaching of New Thought, etc. And I have various experiences in my life that have given me, we'll say, confidence that these things are true. There is life after life after life, a variety of experiences. We can sit down and have conversation about that if you want to one day. But the point being, even though that, I still anxiety, occasional fear, occasional panic attack, etc., etc. So once again, why am I sharing it? So that we all come together and learn how to support one another in the midst of real world trauma, fear, anxiety. Stop with the, well, what's in your consciousness? What you resist persist. If you fear, no, we're not doing that here. Somebody might do that in their community, wherever their community is. We're not doing that here. Here, we are doing Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0, which is about being real world applicable for whatever the experiences are, whether they are physical, emotional, psychological, etc. Be with them, including the fear that I know many people are experiencing and not so many are sharing, the fear with watching what's happening with democracy in the United States, what's happening with authoritarianism, scaring people. But many communities, many ministers, many practitioners are not speaking about it or not welcoming and inviting conversation about it or treatment about it or prayer, etc. Because people aren't really sharing it because we're not supposed to feel it. So, living in fear is just another way of dying before your time. And I'm going to tweak that and say living in chronic fear. That means untreated, ever present. I'm not seeing a therapist. I'm not taking medication. I'm not doing meditation or prayer. Or I'm not doing anything. I'm just paralyzed by the fear. Yes, then in essence, but if you're living in fear, and you're still doing what you need to do to live and not just exist, not just function, but you're still able to live even though the fear is there, then you're still alive. There are dreadful moments when death comes very near to those we love, even if for the time being it passes by. But life is a great adventure, and the worst of all fears is the fear of living. This goes back to what we were talking about dude running from life. Because there are a lot of people who are afraid of truly living. Because to truly live means you have to be vulnerable. You have to be, or as Reverend Darrell said in a conversation I had with him last month, or 2 months ago, we have to be naked. We have to be unencumbered by the names, the labels, the masks, and just be. And that takes courage. And so rather than have that courage, people avoid. People choose not to live. And there are many ways to die. There are many kinds of death. And so to go back to the concept of thanatophobia and tie it in with there are many kinds of death, many ways to die. Once again, I'm going to get personal and share that over my life, there have been a great many things that have been grieved or are still being grieved. My childhood home, the favorite bakery that I had while growing up in Pittsburgh, various places in Pittsburgh, pets that I've had, grief, because many of these I will never see again in person for a variety of reasons. The bakery's no longer there. Family home, while my brother lives there, the odds of me going back very slim. My pets have died. Friends who have either parted ways or friends who have made their transition. My friend Brody in the upper corner, the two of us graduating high school, he made his transition a year or so ago, 2 years ago. So all kinds of stuff. My friend Glenn, who's in the bottom, center bottom, sitting in the brown chair. I was still living in Pittsburgh when he made his transition. I think I was 19, 18, something like that ish. So friends and activities. So yes, there's grief, there's regret, there's the what if, there's the missed opportunities, there's the ending of things. There are the questions that have no answers. There is the lack of closure and more. So there's all kinds of relationships and activities that are no more. There are betrayals. In the upper corner, the gentleman smiling wildly is Brent, who ended up having a schizophrenic episode in 2000, and he made his way to Richmond, Virginia, and attacked me and attempted to kill me in order to fulfill his plot to put God, Jesus, and the devil in a small black box so he could rule the universe. And I was in the way of that. So were four other people, but they're all video game characters. Why was I the only flesh? Anyhow, betrayal, pain, grief, mentors, and inspirational people who somehow shaped who I am and how I got here, be it sign language or art. But in the midst of, I didn't realize what I had access to. I didn't realize in the moment, carpe diem. I was like, okay, cool. Didn't realize. For example, the gentleman in the black and white photo toward the bottom, Henry Kerner, was one of my instructors at the Art Institute. Henry Kerner is a he's made his transition, world famous artist. And in that center picture, me and Superman, that was me modeling, because I modeled for him several times, that was me modeling for him for a painting. And at the time, I'm like, okay, I'm modeling for Henry. He's going to do a painting, and I'm getting paid for it. Okay. Years later, that painting is making its way around the world, and it's in Italy and stuff. And like, wait, what? Wait, what? And then it clicks. I modeled for, it's almost like modeling for Da Vinci or Michelangelo. Like, you modeled for Henry Kerner? Yeah. You know Flavia Zortea? Yeah. No, dude, you didn't realize it till many years later. My Aikido instructor, and the guilt that I felt because she wanted me to, get my black belt with her and become one of the instructors in the center at the Aikido school. And so when she would die, that, I was being groomed to be one of, but I moved because the person I was dating wanted to move. And so I felt that I let her down. And then when she died, a great wave of guilt and shame and family of choice, my children, and the children that I no longer speak to for various reasons. Some of them I have no idea what the reason is. And then there are the ones that I still speak to, but there's a strange distance. Grief, sadness, other family members and relationships that fizzled for various reasons. The pain of trauma. I don't know if I've ever told you about the story when or how I ended up going to therapy in the first place. The young man in the red and the shorts and the Flash logo on his chest is a cousin who, in essence, killed his mother's boyfriend when he was 11 or 12, 11, I believe. And I witnessed it, and dominoes continued. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, this photo was taken not long after he got out of the youth detention center. Pain, trauma, drama. My time at Juilliard, my pets in Richmond, the friends and the education I received in Richmond, the performing company I once had, the interpreting I once did, the traveling with the Wild Zappers, all of these things are enfolded now in terms of the grief, the sadness, being an art teacher, being a teacher in general, teaching sign language, etc., being involved with AIHT and the World Alliance of Interfaith Clergy. These things are, in essence, no more. My grandparents, my maternal grandmothers. I don't have photos of my grandfathers. I never knew my mother's father because he died when she was young. My biological family and I don't really communicate for a variety of reasons. Two of my brothers, that center picture down with my mother, me in the yellow shirt, two of my brothers have made their transition. My mother, miss going to Pittsburgh and seeing her, Miss Tracy harassing her. My father. So there's grief and stuff all over the place. And yet, when it comes to me, what is there for me? Because there are aspects of me that I grieve that are no more. Parts of me that I've never gotten to know still. Parts of me I didn't fully embrace. Parts of still today, there are aspects of. And so once again, I invite you, this is why I'm sharing this, I invite you into the space of be fully you. Balance, find the space of balance between the fear, the anxiety, the this and the that. Find that space where you are able to be present, to find peace, to be peace. Now let's take a slight change of directions. We're still talking about the same concept. And just as a note, we know we have a variety of quote unquote holidays or holy days where death is the central concept. Here are two of them. Samhain, which many people pronounce Samhain, but Samhain and the Mexican Day of the Dead. Our invitation, because both of these talk about the time when the veil between the other side is very thin. There is also the idea of being present and honoring our ancestors and our lineage, those who have passed on. There's all kind of ways where we can be present with all of it. Those who have died, those who are alive, we who are alive, we who shall one day be among the ancestors. How do we embrace it all? I believe in the continuation of the personal life beyond the grave, in the continuity of the individual stream of consciousness, with a full recollection of itself and the ability to know and to make itself known. Say what now? Now, this is Ernest Holmes, founder of this movement, founder of this teaching. The continuation of personal life beyond the grave. That means you being you, because with a full recollection of itself, you'll know who you are. You'll know what you are on the other side. If there's another quote unquote other side, other plane, other form of existence, whatever that is. Now, how do we embody this? How do we practice this, etc.? Well, I'm going to remix it, of course. Or actually, I'm not. The remix is thinking about it as love being a continuous loop. Love does not end. Love the energy, love the presence, love as the divine is without end. So how do we embody that? How do we practice that? How do we live that? To the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. To the well-organized mind, to the enlightened mind, to the aware mind. Dumbledore also shared with good old Harry in a conversation when Harry, quote unquote, died, and he said, "Tell me one last thing. Is this real, or has this all been happening inside my head?" Dumbledore beamed at him, and his voice sounded loud and strong in Harry's ears, even though the bright mist was descending again, obscuring his figure. "Of course it is happening inside your head, Harry, but why on earth should that mean that it is not real?" What we think is real. What we feel is real. Don't get lost in the idea of, because we do it, is that just my imagination? As though somehow that makes it less real or less valid. That intuition, less real, less valid. Because maybe it was just coincidence. And for those who ask, the author of the books, her name is crossed out because she is transphobic, and I do not wish to say her name. She has become like Voldemort as far as I'm concerned. To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, and that is all. Most people exist. Most people go through life bored without realizing they are bored, in a state of apathy, not realizing they are apathetic.
in a state of stagnancy, not realizing that they are not moving mentally, spiritually, emotionally. They are stuck and they don't realize it. Whether it's being stuck to their phones and doom scrolling, whether it's being in a dead end job, whether it's being stuck in sadness and depression that is chronic and untreated, many of us simply exist. There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, the other as though everything is a miracle. So, miracles, yes or no? Do you believe in miracles? Just ask, do you believe in miracles? Do you know what Ernest Holmes said about miracles? Do you know what we teach about miracles? According to Holmes, miracles never happen. Every manifestation of faith through prayer, every wonder and every sign which has followed the devotional life has been a logical and an inevitable and an irresistible result of some cause that has been set into motion into the life principle. So, miracles, which we see as some extraordinary, out of the ordinary thing that, like, that shouldn't happen, but it did. Versus, well, of course, that's a natural byproduct of course. So, I'm going to remix this and we're going to do another acronym. Are you ready? Miracles are not what we have been taught. Miracles are moments in revelatory awareness, consistently experiencing satori or enlightenment. Moments in revelatory awareness, moments in being awake and aware, moments in knowing, moments in enlightenment, consistently experiencing enlightenment. Not as a once off, being in that state of, I know what I am, I know who I am, I know how I am. And that impacts peace, presence, expressing, and creating experiences all the time. Therefore, miracles occur all the time, just like the sunrise and the sunset. And whether we pause to recognize the beauty, the majesty, and the divinity in each moment is the question. That's the question. Are we pausing to take it in and recognize it's always happening? Every manifestation that results from life affirming faith, expressed through prayer and service, every realization, no matter how it arrives, be that wonder, intuition, or a sign, must flow from the devotional life. The life principle is always in motion. Therefore, miracles are a logical, inevitable, and irresistible result of a cause that has been set in motion. Miracles are normal, everyday occurrences. So let's go back. Do you believe in miracles? What are we saying here? Miracles. Miracles are simply another way of saying manifestation. Do you believe in manifestation? Do you believe in creation? Do you believe that you have the ability to create change, to transform, to evolve? Do you believe in your own divine alchemy? I am living a life of the whole of humanity, And if I understand death, if I understand grief, I am cleansing the whole consciousness of humankind. What we do for ourselves, we do for others. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality. That's Dr. King. You've heard of the butterfly effect, right? That if a butterfly flaps its wings at just the right time, in just the right place, it can cause a hurricane thousands of miles away. That is chaos theory. But see, chaos theory isn't exactly about chaos. It's about how a tiny change in a big system can affect everything. One mind, one life. And then there's this company called Eclipse. At Eclipse, we understand the profound impact of actions, which can create a far-reaching and enduring effect known as the ripple effect. We believe that every action taken has the power to impact another in a life-affirming way. So our invitation to realize that we are all interconnected. Did we not go over what Chief Seattle said a couple of weeks ago, referencing, or was that last? I don't remember when it was. Don't judge me. Web of life. We did not create the web of life, nor are we every strand, but we are one thread in the web. And what happens on one thread, what happens in one area, reverberates throughout the entire web. So, to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, and to endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know that even one life has been breathed easier because you have lived. That is what it means to have succeeded. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. Nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. You don't need more money. You don't need more friends. You don't need more likes on social media. Nobody need anything other than what they are right now to make the world a better place. It's simply figuring out what is that thing that is yours to bring, to change. Breathe. Each one is, I feel, on the pathway to an endless expression of life, truth, and beauty. Behind us is the all. Before us, within us, and expressing through us is the all. I believe in the immortality and the continuity of the individual stream of consciousness. Humanity is an ascending principle of life. Individuality and expression through experience and unfoldment. Immortality is a principle in life. All people are immortal or no one. is immortal. Fortunately, we now know that all people are, and that each leaves this world taking the only thing with them that they can take, which is their spirit, their mind, their consciousness. This is the one eternal reality of the inner self. No doubt evolution will continue beyond the grave, for as each is an expanding, eternally evolving, and unfolding principle of life. Breathe. And yes, we're going to go past our usual time, just so you know. Meant to strap you in on that earlier. Life is not a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a well preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Woo! What a ride!" Are you living that way? Am I living that way? Because that's our invitation. What a ride. The Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0 gives us the means to live the sacred duality of both and, mortal and immortal, finite and infinite. It gives us the awareness that we are the eternal spirit which cannot die. Therefore, we are and forever will be life expressing. With this realization, we are tasked with the question and the call to live as best we can in the most life affirming ways possible, and in ways that enable others to do the same. How do we live with more joy, peace, clarity, compassion, communication, connection, grace, sovereignty, and what others call miracles, to which we say, "Oh, I call that Monday." Our final acronym of the day. "Oh, I call that mind open." Now demonstrating actively, yes. This week's affirmation or declaration, I will say it first, and if it resonates with you, I invite you to repeat it with me the second time. My eternal, immortal, endless expression of life is now, since that which God is as me is now. Together. My eternal, immortal, endless expression of life is now, since that which God is as me is now. And so it is. Prayerfully, I'm noticing there might be a slight, prayerfully y'all heard that, because I noticed there was a glitch. I'm going to do it again just to make sure. My eternal, what is you doing now? I can't tell if the internet's acting up because there's a storm rolling in. Okay, I think I'm back. If I left, I don't know if I left for you or not, or if it's just here. My eternal, immortal, endless expression of life is now, since that which God is as me is now. Breathe. This week's Thursday night study group questions or your own personal journal questions. If someone asked me what I believe about death, heaven, hell, the afterlife, what would I say to them? How would I answer that? As I mentioned in the Latin phrases, memento mori, momente viver, carpe diem, memento amoris. What arose for you? What arose for you? When Ray mentioned, I read that all wrong. You know what? We're going to pause, we're going to breathe. I said mentioned, it says meditated. As I meditated on the Latin phrases, what arose for me? Number 3, how well do I balance life with the inevitability of death? To what degree am I living all out or running from life? What do I think? What do I feel about what Dr. Holmes said regarding miracles? I might not agree. What am I doing? This is regarding the Anne Frank quote. What am I doing to improve the world? Lastly, in what ways do I see the red thread that connects me with all others? What is the ripple effect? How has my life impacted others and the world? This is your opportunity to put yourself in the film, It's a Wonderful Life. And if you've never seen the movie, this is homework. Go watch the movie. It's a Christmas movie. I know it's October. Watch the movie. And put yourself in Jimmy Stewart's shoes. How would people's lives be different had you not been born? How are their lives different, better, because you have been born? Our practice this week, ready? I want you to write a eulogy for yourself and then read it aloud to someone. And then discuss how you want to be celebrated and how you want to be remembered. Breathe. As we enter into that space of prayer, where this week I will simply say, memento mori, memento viver, carpe diem, memento amoris. I am that which is ever expressing and ever becoming more of itself, right here, right now, as me. I am peace. I am presence, expressing and creating experiences. I am the infinite. I am eternal. I am immortal. I am breath itself. I am life. I am the expression of the one mind. I am. And so it is. Namaste and blessings. Much love and appreciation. See you sometime during the week or see you right here next Sunday. Love you.